3 seconds and let you.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Please.
Wow. Holy goosebumps. Now that's an introduction that perfectly encapsulates what Call of Duty World at War is all about. Dark, unapologetic grittiness, and an uncompromising dedication to showing the horrors of war. Loading up Call of Duty World at War has always been such a badass experience because of this intro. And I'm here to tell you that this badassery is present in every other area of the game. I would say that World at War is generally well regarded by the OG COD community, with many remembering it for having a great campaign, a solid multiplayer, and maybe most importantly, its introduction of the most popular side mode that Call of Duty has ever had, zombies. But the general consensus on World at War and its existence weren't always praised. You see, World at War was not exactly desired during the time period it was released. The groundbreaking Call of Duty 4 had come out the year prior, which is widely considered the most revolutionary first-person shooter ever made, shifting the trend for first-person shooters from being set in World War II and into the modern times. It received widespread acclaim, won many awards, and to this day is the highest graded Call of Duty on Metacritic. So when Call of Duty World at War was announced, it wasn't exactly the Call of Duty that the masses were hoping for. Treyarch, coming off of the rather disappointing COD 3, and as a developer that came in simply to make CODs in the year that Infinity Ward needed off to make their game, were evidently an underdog, the second fiddle, and there weren't necessarily high expectations for them. And from what I've heard, though I will admit I don't have a clear, credible source for this, Activision had made them change a lot of features in the multiplayer to essentially make World at War a World War II version of COD 4. But despite the inexperience and low expectations, Treyarch, through sheer dedication to creating an atmospheric, dark, gritty, unapologetic game, and a commitment to showing how terrifying the most deadly conflict in human history was able to capture the attention and respect of the COD and general gaming community. Now, I wouldn't say World at War is necessarily the most balanced or groundbreaking Call of Duty, but where Treyarch makes its money is through the sound and visual design, mixed with the gameplay, which in unison concoct a war experience I have yet to see replicated in any other video game. It's one that does not glorify war, but instead rightfully depicts it to the common citizen that war is ugly, brutal, a horrible experience that no human should ever seek out or have positive feelings towards. Let's jump right into it and start with the sound design. The music of World at War is just awesome, fitting every scenario. Whether it's the badass guitar riffs, or the eerie sounds in the more intense moments, the music somehow manages to always help further induce the feelings that, as the player, I should be feeling. Whether it's fighting the Japanese outside of Shuri Temple, or sneaking through the streets of Stalingrad after a massacre by the Germans, it all just fits so right. You can argue that the music at the main menus are the best in the series, again fitting the dark, gritty tone. and in massive contrast to a game like Call of Duty World War II, where it just feels a little too upbeat. Boo! It's like World at War is telling you it's committed to obscenity and inhumanity, and World War II is committed to telling you a generic, feel-good war story. And well, it is. The voice acting of World at War is just top tier, and they spent no expense in getting the likes of Gary Oldman, or you might know him as Commissioner Gordon.
Team Deathmatch! All must stand as one!
You then have Kiefer Sutherland to voice Sergeant Roebuck.
Nice work, Marines! Scratch one up for us!
And then, I don't know who voices the Japanese or German factions, but oh boy, were they committed to this role.
Victory belongs to Germany! The savages kneel before us in defeat!
Even in gameplay, the German and Japanese soldiers are so intense.
Nein!
Russisches Schwein, du hättest wieder tot bleiben sollen!
And there's nothing more satisfying, yet also terrifying, than their screams when you incinerate them with a flamethrower. And the guns all sound excellent in World at War, especially the iconic MP40. Or the M1 Grand with that oh so satisfying ping.
Eyes wide!
You also have these gross, mushy gore sounds when you take a limb off via grenade or shotgun or a high caliber round. And again, it's just gross. And while cool, it can get to a point where it makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. That's how a true war game should be. Because as horrific as it is, this isn't a Hollywood movie. In real life, in war, people are being blown to bits. And this game respects that truth. And then back to the voice acting again with the main characters. The excellent performances help drive in the main themes we see present in both theaters of war. Gary Oldman does an excellent job demonstrating the hatred that Reznov has for the Germans.
Burn the wheat fields! There will be no escape! Shoot!
This place, once echoed with conversations of friends and lovers. No longer. Mark my words, comrade. One day things will change. We will take the fight to their land, to their people, to their blood.
While the inclusion of Chernoff, who is in many ways sympathetic to German soldiers, at least the ones who are surrendering, creates a contrast that further hammers home how the Soviets felt about the Germans, and their reasons for their well-documented brutality they put on display during World War II.
Chernoff! What is going on?
These men are trying to surrender!
Look around you, Chernoff. Do you think these men will be denied their revenge?
And while the Pacific side of things is a little bit less compelling, it's a little bit more run-of-the-mill, Roebuck's tone helps demonstrate how tired these men were from fighting the Japanese, and the constant hope of going home, though there was always doubt that it would ever happen.
Status report? The last few months on Okinawa have taken their toll. Morale is low. It's the rain, sir, and the mud. Tanks are getting bogged down, supplies aren't getting through. We can't even get the wounded out. Yes, sir. Understood.
It's not bad, okay?
Tomorrow? How the hell are we supposed to hold out till tomorrow? This is bullshit. You hear this, Sarge? We ain't getting shit till tomorrow morning.
Intel says Shuri Castle is mostly deserted. Look on the bright side. After this, you boys will probably get relieved and be on the boat.
Yeah? That's what we thought after Peleliu.
And then finally, we have zombies. And there's no doubt to me that this is the scariest zombies that has ever been made. Like, they were actually once focused on making a horror-themed mode. Between Nacht, Verrückt, Shino Numa, and Derice, zombies was always very unsettling. The zombies sound scarier, the pre-match and endgame sounds are much scarier. And the overall sound design represents a time where COD Zombies was a horror game mode, not an action game mode. And then we get on to the visuals. And believe it or not, there was a time when COD actually had a pair of unclipped nuts that they swung around in your face. Like, yeah, I'm that guy. Treyarch did not shy away from the more graphic or controversial content, at the risk of offending others. Now, I'm of the belief that you can't respect history if you shy away from such content, because history is, well, history. It's something that happened objectively, and it cannot be changed. And so it's the responsibility of those depicting those wars in a fictional manner to give the sense that the story they are telling could have happened, and tell a story with a message that is thoughtful and meaningful. World at War holds no punches in terms of depicting controversial, gruesome, obscene, and downright inhumane moments that did take place in World War II, making them, in my eyes, a responsible developer. Unlike Sledgehammer, who shied away from every single bit of subject matter that one could find even slightly offensive in World War II. There's actually flags of, those bad guys from Germany, whose flag was red and their name started with an N and ended with an I. And although his name and likeness aren't exactly in the game itself, you see the old H-bomb in one of the pre-mission clips. And these pre-mission loading screens are just so cool. They're so well edited with their mix of real footage depicting the events you're about to play through, with mentions of real historical places and figures, as well as more of that excellent voice acting as I was talking about.
The rotten cancer of the fascist Reich ravages Europe like a plague. The relentless drive into our motherland steals the lives of men, women, and children alike. The arrogance of their leaders is matched only by the brutality of their soldiers. These are the darkest days of the Nazi occupation of Stalingrad.
A real standout to me is one of the end scenes where it shows footage of the Enola Gay taking off, and then the bomb being dropped over Hiroshima, and then afterwards a very powerful speech from General MacArthur.
Of all mankind, that from this solemn occasion, a better world shall emerge out of the blood and carnage of the past. A world founded upon faith and understanding.
World War II was truly hell on earth, and that theme is gotten across to the player through the gameplay on both the Pacific and European theaters, whether you're being bonsai charged by the Japanese, burning them alive with a flamethrower, or out of a tree, or even out of a tree with a tank, shooting a German soldier with a flamethrower to make them go boom. And I will say there are a lot of charred humans in this game, as you'd expect out of a World War II game. Man, something burning, dude? You see limbs being blown off. You see your comrades get burned alive by another Japanese soldier. See them get strung up and blown up in a trap.
Some shit.
Throwing Molotovs into a burning field at fleeing Germans. Watching kamikazes drop onto an Allied battleship. I could go on forever, but it's all immaculate visual design. I have a vivid memory of my older brother back in the day who couldn't really play this game for more than an hour or two at a time because the visuals and all the gore would just make him sick and nauseated. Each of these examples being brutally depicted, yet importantly, because no human should ever think war is like an action movie, or there are true heroes and there is a clear black and white line drawn. War is evil. War is messy. Good people go to war and literally get blown into a red mist with nothing left to recover. And that's the message that needs to be conveyed. And it was by Treyarch. So bravo to them. Furthermore, I'm just a huge fan of the Soviet side of the war. starting off with the massacre in Stalingrad, where the Nazis killed millions, and then seeing how vindictive the Red Army became as they slaughtered their way to the top of the Reichstag, ending the fascist Nazi regime. Overall, World at War's campaign is just the realest and the grittiest that we've seen out of Call of Duty. And despite some historical inaccuracies, which, most games are going to have, I absolutely adore this campaign. And to wrap it up here, there's really nothing to be said about the multiplayer that I haven't already said about the campaign. The maps are great, most cut right from the campaign. The old film grain is great. Everything looks awesome, gross, and dilapidated, like you'd expect a World War setting to be. Unlike Call of Duty World War II, where everything is just a bit too clean. And again with zombies, it's just visually amazing. The way the zombies run is so much scarier than in the succeeding games. All of these maps, especially Nacht and Verrückt, are so eerie. I mean, look at this giant full moon in Nacht, all the fog and the zombies coming out of it, or the asylum that is Verrückt. I mean, there really isn't a better setting for a zombies map. And now that I think of it, I forgot to mention the screams that you can hear on this map. And actually the multiplayer map that Verrückt is based off of, Asylum, you can hear screams in there too. It's just all so scary, so immersive, and I absolutely adore it. All in all, World at War wouldn't be what it is without its vibe. While the game is definitely dated, the sound of this intro or this music is enough to make any person who played it nostalgic and need to revisit it every once in a while. No Call of Duty has ever been able to match the small details put into it like World at War did, and I respect them so much for it. It proves you really can take any COD game, put it into any setting, and given the right team to work on it, the game can work. When I envision the creative process of World at War, I envision a bunch of nerds all geeked out and excited, one-upping each other with cool ideas. Like, oh, let's put footage of the Enola Gay at the end. Oh, me next, we have to include spider holes and bonsai charges. Oh, and also kamikazes. Oh, and it wouldn't be a World War II game if there wasn't a flamethrower and you could burn your enemies alive. Hell yeah, man, great idea. Whereas with current COD, I imagine it like this. Hey boss, I was thinking it would be a great idea if we included real life. Hey Philip, awesome ideas, but I'm gonna need you to shut the hell up and get back to making the P. Diddy bundle skin right now. You know these damn kids will buy anything. Now line my pockets with microtransactions as I overwork you. And so I guess the overall message is that nerds are awesome and make really, really good video games, whereas corporate CEOs do not. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you, World at War. Thank you, Treyarch, so much for creating such a memorable experience in a game that I hold so near and dear. I'll see you guys around.